Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome once again to another exciting edition of Development Corner on Bina TV. My name is Fatimatu Ahmed, and I'm joined today by two gentlemen. I'm joined by a security analyst, that's Alhaji Irbad Ibrahim, and then Yakub Alpha. Today we are discussing the wake of the chaos in Nigeria and then all that's happening in terms of journalism, security, and also demonstrations. We are mixing all together and then we talk about it. Let me start with Mr. Irbad. Well, we just got up to 28th and then the killings happened in the country. And then afterwards, there's been chaos all over, military involvement, and then all that's going on. As a security analyst, what do you think went wrong?
Ajafati, thank you, and thanks to Bayina Television for the opportunity to sit with my boss, Yakub, today. I think we've all been taken aback by the sequence of events in the past few days, almost a fortnight now.
Yeah.
But always when we talk about civilian security personnel relations, we need to situate the discussion, Hajia, within a proper context. We are talking about two different streams of murder cases.
Yeah.
The first one, whose perpetrators are yet to be unraveled. That is why the Commission Commission right now is sitting. I think it has sat for a couple of days. The regional minister has been cross-examined or interrogated. A host of other people have been interrogated. Journalists from Multimedia and City as well have been interrogated, and the MC and all people. So the essence of this commission or a committee is to unravel the events that led to the demise of Kaka.
Yeah.
And already there are contradicting reports that are coming. Videos indicate that there was bad blood between him and his brother. Then others said no, he was doing things within the community that made the MC look bad. So the MC's boys could have perpetrated this heinous act. And others also say there could be government's long arm in what has happened. If we were to just stop at Kaka's death, I think we would have been able to look at what we can do as a country to make sure that activists, journalists, we still remember the death of Ahmed Swale and others, would be protected. But where civilian police, civilian soldier relations came in was as a result of what happened afterwards. The Tashiyah. In Arabic, we call it Tashiyah.
Okay.
When you do a procession to go and bury your dead, it's Tashiyah. So from there, we are told that there was a spontaneous uproar and that led to a demonstration. I have at least seen one footage of young men chasing a Canon vehicle. They are somebody's husband. In case they are women, there are some people's, wives, there are somebody's daughter, there are somebody's son, and all that. And we remember the horrendous incident of Major Maxwell Mahama.
Yeah.
They said he had a sidearm when the youth mob charged at him. Was he professional not to have pulled the trigger? And as a consequence of that, he was killed. If he was just killed, that would have been understandable. He was killed and his corpse was set ablaze. Literally, they struck a match and then burnt him. A security person, somebody in uniform. So I am a civilian. Of course, we interact with state security operatives and then also private ones as well. I think we need to just be fair to all sides. You say you are comfortably sitting right now. If this was a lethal tool, and suddenly, as though I've been struck by madness, I get up. I know Yakub would even use his reflexes to overpower me. If maybe I'm trying to hit you with this. He's my good friend, or there's a mutual respect between us. But a human being can't stand unreasonable acts of violence and brutality. So if I just smashed you right now, he would find a way of parrying off the attack to protect you. So I want us to, Ajia, agree with the security personnel to some extent that where protesters have exuded signs of wanting to physically attack them, I think they reserve every right to protect
but
themselves.
Then
but the extent to which they do that is what will bring the
before we
professionalism.
delve into that, we will come back to that. But Yakub, I want to ask, you are a civilian, you are a journalist. Do you think, is it because of piling up anger? Because before this Kaka was killed, there has been people wanting to protest because of economic hardships. They've been saying that the country needs fixing. There's been hashtags around fix the country. People want to demonstrate. They want to go on the street and then show their anger towards the economic hardship that we are facing in the country. But then it looks like the more they try, they are being suppressed. When they try, they are being suppressed. So then Kaka's murder could have made the youth in Nigeria very angry and then come out to do what they did. Do you think what they did was because of piled up anger?
Yes, thank you very much. I also want to say a very good evening to your viewers. I agree with my big brother here, my boss. He called me his boss, but trust me, he's my boss. We are learning from them. I agreed with him to some extent. But you see, looking at the whole situation, I believe that the security, as you said, it's not just looking at it from Kaka's situation, like what happened with Kaka, but we go back. When you go back in the past 1 to 2, 3 years now, we've had several situations where citizens are denied with the right to speak or to actually go onto the street to demonstrate their grievances or displeasure in the system. And I think, you see, once you continue to limit or prevent people from speaking, from demonstrating their displeasure with whatever is happening, you see, it will get to a point where they have no means to actually react or to get their voice heard, but through violence means. That is why, as a democratic country as we are, we understand that aside through writing releases, writing petitions, demonstration is one of those things that we can go out there to get our views heard. I hope again, but that continued and constant prevention of citizens to speak, even the journalists sometimes, has been the reason we are at this stage today. I hope you get me.
Yeah.
There have been journalists that have been abused over the past few years. Journalists, even during the 2020 election, some journalists have been abused. Some journalists reported that they were not handled well. Civilians who actually were trying to ensure transparency in the counting of ballots, some of them got shot and they were dead. I hope you get me.
Yeah.
And this has always been the process. During election, people stand, they watch the counting of ballots. They are able to attest to this is really what happened. But in doing that, yes, I agree. Sometimes the civilians go overboard in how they react to situation. But we should also understand that the security service is these are trained officers. They have that specialty on how to handle situations like this. I hope you get me.
Yeah.
There are so many processes involved in reacting to civilian military situations like that. So let's ask ourselves, did they really go through those processes in order to make sure that they're able to tame down whatever violence, the civilians or the demonstrators are trying to, come up with? Did they did that? If they did that, and at least, the last resort is to use gun on them or shoot directly into the public, at least that is to some extent understandable, because as I said, the life of that security officer is also important. The Bullion Van attack, the young man that was killed, that police officer, his family, trust me, by now they are still going through pain. They are still remembering that, because this is a man who actually have taken an oath, to pursue, the interests of our nation, to protect us. And he has been killed out there. Yes, we understand. So there should be ways and means to get them protected, or for them to protect themselves. But to what extent or when should they react? And how should they react? That is, where the question comes in. And to tell you the truth, I think the people or citizens now have actually, to some extent, I wouldn't say to a large extent, to some extent, have lost confidence within the security service. That cannot be taken away. Because there have been series of issues that have happened. Okay, at the end of the day, people don't get the justice. They don't see the justice, like they don't feel the justice. It doesn't happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think all this, and also not to forget, you see, when you're talking about security issues, it's very broad.
Yeah.
When you look at the living condition of people now, you know, with the recent COVID-19 situation where business are, like, people are already depressed, people are frustrated. The system is not really working for them. So with the least opportunity, they want to react.
Yeah.
And they will sometimes react overboard.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, it is up to the security agencies or the security services to know how to handle this situation professionally.
Yeah. Let me ask Mr. Irbad. Irbad, you know, we live in a democratic state, yeah? Police, protectable. We are not in the military regime. It's okay to see the military in town doing things on their own way. Even recently, in Kaduba, Mako video that police brutalizing civilians because of a missing phone. Has it gotten to the extent whereby the military should be seen doing things or maybe seeming to protect Ghanaian lives when the police is there to do that for us?
I think my boss, Yakub, has spoken well. You see, when you understand the architecture of security, you want to put your best foot forward as a country, because security is multi-sectorial and multi-layered, and there are varying degrees of threats to our security. As you and I sit here, most of last night, some people didn't sleep. They didn't blink an eye. Domin kante ku ya kamata a duba kar wasu miyagu su shigo. Iyakokinmu ko borders, especially with Burkina Faso and the things happening in the Sahel region. Just so you and I can get a sound sleep. The nation is a sovereign country. Our country is sovereign. And sovereignty is defined in so many ways, because a country or a nation state has to protect its land, it has to protect its airspace, and it has to protect its territorial waters. That is why we say the president is commander-in-chief, because he oversees our sovereignty and territorial integrity. Where the threat is external, so doji suda sukia ikasa. Where it is internal, ensanda ko police suke kiyayewa. But even in the United States of America, it's not like soldiers are in the barracks and there is no interaction between civilians and soldiers. Historically, because of what happened with military regimes, the National Liberation Movement that toppled Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the Supreme Military Council 1 and 2, then AFRC came, then PNDC. Harwayo iya muna ba mutare kaman babanka ko rafaninka da fita da patakari and stop on shabariya mai bulala, those kind of things. So they leave us in awe of soldiers. So kaga ma wani ya ce kai ni polisai goma ma ni ban damu ba, amma ko rigan soja aka rataya gida in ka shigo kai steady. So that intimidation, that fear commands some respect for soldiers.
And why is it so?
Because historically, these are the things that have happened.
But should it be?
Soldiers and police officers have all sat before us to learn. There are police officers that are better built in terms of stature than police officers. I think they are just twins. That's why they work towards the same goal. And anytime you see a joint police military operation, it doesn't mean come police sun kasa so shaga ka usodoji. That is that is a wrong impression. It's for an outsider to think that, because there are some police officers that are even more courageous than soldiers. But for the state to decide that at this point in time, Ensanda Dama use, at this point in time, Soljoji Dama use, when it's international standard practice.
Okay.
You remember the George Floyd protests in the US? Kengani mo matasani. Matasa kumanza kuyi abu. Kuna yin abu kaman mutum guda ne. Maybe an agree kaman institute nima ne. that will be from overhead. Moja musauka ni run about. I'm only party na chicken crowd and no the anchor research na che kayu kubar mo bawde mo bina ko anchor Hollanders downside the che kubiurin na kwai kazaurin. So you can't guarantee the youth will comport or conduct themselves well. That is why the state has to make contingency measures and preparations. Even in the US, the George Floyd I've been a year where people were looting and burning places. In one of the states, I'ma put the police department alight and corner. There have been instances in Ghana and Kasha police, the police station, like a bar prisoners Sukawuchi. There are times the security personnel are overpowered. Domingungu Kezua is a crowd coming. Yeah. It's a mob.
But then isn't the
intention? Yeah, I'm going build point in a minute. I'll finish soon. The US has got police departments in every state or city. They are like National Guard. National Guard, they are soldiers. They are not police officers. Eventually, they had to call in the National Guard to put sanity in the minds of people. And remember that Trump lose election. You saw what a protest turned into. I have been to the Capitol Hill, Congress, at least the building, the outside precincts. It's one of the most respected symbols of the state. But the floor of the Senate, they had to evacuate the senators and the vice president. Recently, like before I demolishing, some time ago, scrap the elections on one issue. They demonstrated up to Parliament House. Parliament wasn't in session. So every serious nation would want to take, make contingency preparations. Come on, I've been get overboard. Kanda, my senior, my Yakub Alpha, and some kind of a contain. Amadia, we just have to be fair to the security personnel. Yenle Masuhi demonstration, Sakarenjia. They didn't charge out the police officers. There was no need for soldiers to come in. Maybe soldiers came in, they were asked to leave, maybe. Or they even came in to give a supporting, conduct a supporting role. But so JF soldier, but so threaten that corner police station, but young could unshoot one. Crowd control. Yeah, 2 people were murdered during. No, I'm talking about the NDC. Oh no. Because it was a peaceful one. Yeah. So what did we suffer? We only suffered traffic. Isn't it because there was a precedence from Ejura? Come on, so Angani come on, or maybe Ejura one and I don't buy control by. It's a military. No, but you see, but this is not the first time when the Mutani Sukache Damu demonstrations, Akahana Suda, Akayusia Suda. The demonstration can then peacefully. There's no need to even question how police officers are trained to control the crowd. The issue is, in the first place, demonstrations in the apart from the darker thing. But in the case of N1 it was spontaneous. It was spontaneous. And you know what spontaneity can do? Even in Iraq, you remember there was a spontaneous procession like that by Ambissa also. They went to the U.S. Embassy. They almost breached the U.S. Embassy. That was what led to the death of the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Around that time, no, you should go chicken Baghdad. Then the Americans took him out. But then so, matter, maybe family police, maybe family na police, maybe family Yakub, according immigration officer, fire officer, need the Sauransu. So, kuma mutanini. She is a professional to control crowd. Where the crowd doesn't sound menacing, where the crowd doesn't look menacing, doesn't threaten his life, he has no business even shooting in the air. The Ba'ana Abasu training when to use stun grenades, when to use rubber bullets, when to shoot in the air, and when to fire. And do you think situation Nayanda Mukaganshi visuals and Dezuna Katama situation, has it got to the point where you kneel and shoot and aim? I think this is going to Yakub, but in 30 seconds. Need a key footage in them. Maybe you watch the footage while reclining in your couch, in the comfort of your room. Maybe I watched the footage while I was on top of some ball of banku. But the people out there on the field, what the Shia guy been vis-a-vis now? She's a guy to what extent? Maxwell Mahama, so she na back example. But in that case, Munyamachekama, he's one person against a mob. So they may overpower him or they look. The life of the security personnel in Namkuma could be at risk at any point in time, and they reserve every right to protect themselves.
Yakub, do you think the situation is in the kind of Yakai Hal soldier is Sungune aim a shoot?
Whenever situations like this can happen, the security services are being faced with such a situation. There are processes on how to be able to maintain and then also react to the situation. First, per the structure. First, at least you need to negotiate. You need to discuss with them. So within an case, Nisa, they got megaphone. I feel like we know we want to address. So in there, one you fail. That is when they come in with their shields and their stick to let them. To get them to comport themselves. I hope you get it. That is if it becomes worse. If it is getting worse, that is when they come in with a cannon water tank. Azuba mutani, so that sukuma baya to be able to to control the crowd. You go overboard. Even one they can't even maintain it. That is even when bindigamaki chicken. But even with that it should be more of it should be a warning shoot. And to the threshold, violence in the yakai to one level. Come on, no one gangadi. Come on, neki about two major mahama. Yeah. Major mama. As at that time when Gaskia in the chile bindig and she shoot. It would have been a fair deal because he needed to protect himself. Yes. King Hanemini. Among some of the footages Namukaganda, King and come even. It's like personally the police came unprepared. That is one thing. Coming from the way spontaneously. But it should also remind you that this is Ashanti region. Already, 2-3 years back, somewhere 2018, there was an issue of 7 Zongo youth who were killed. Until now, there has not been a closure. There's not been justice for these 7 people. So trust me, because of history of some of these issues in them, the youths are already having something in themselves. Yeah. They are already angry. They are already agitated. King Hanemini. So when something of this thing happens in them, it should have been. I was expecting the police shouldn't have taken it lightly. When they realized that Baya and Bisua, and whilst they are coming back, they were working towards the district police station. And according to sources, and according to I think is it the inspector where they were coming to set the place ablaze.
The regional minister said he had an information.
Well, whether that information is confirmed or is justifiable, what for that reaction? For me, I don't want to base it. Whatever it is, anything can happen. Maybe that might have not been the reason why they are walking to the police station, but maybe they will get there and their decision will change, because Gaskia. Because of that youthful exuberance. Somehow we do things overboard. So I was expecting the police should have met them on that same level. So like, look, no matter how it is, no matter how small their number is, they shouldn't have to taken it lightly. They could have come in well prepared. Can you understand that? But they didn't do that. So we realized, aside, I don't think there was even an engagement. I'm not really sure about that. But the next thing was to engage in shooting. That is where the problem is. King Hanemini. And then there is also one magana ye kamata established. Our security sector now is very loose. Yeah, very loose. To the extent that there have been issues, series of issues where we have like vigilante members of some vigilante groups being infused within the security team to go and then do all sort of security duties. Was it yesterday called something? No, one video. I think it's somewhere in Ashanti or something. A civilian is wearing a whole military uniform. A whole military uniform. And this one claims, come on, he is one of the, that vigilante members and stuff like that. So that tells you that where did he even get that full outfit to put on and then move around doing whatever he wants to do in the name of the military? That's what I'm telling you, come on back. When it comes to our national security to some extent now, it is becoming loose. And that is why people don't have confidence in them. Because like let's take even the issue of Ajafo. One journalist that was abused in 2018. Emmanuel Ajafo was a colleague. We were all in school together. Hingani, when they stormed their station, at least, well, as a security service officers, yes, you suspected or you assumed there was some but practices going on, hacking into the system of national security to get some information. That didn't warrant the abuse that meted on him. I hope the guy came out and confirmed that he was beaten. And at the end of the day, they didn't find anything. And there was nothing done about the issue. I hope you get
There's the issue of Caleb.
Exactly. The issue of Caleb. They have been... Ahmed Swali, is one of the...
But his killing, we cannot say is the security services because we still don't know
saying that
who...
Justice.
Yeah.
We've not seen justice. Always is just commission. Let's look at Ayawaso West Wagon issue. I hope you get me. These are security, and some of them are even vigilante members of some vigilante who were mixed up with the security men to go out there to do some of these things. A report came out. Till now, there's no. So that's what I'm saying. Looking at the history of what happened in Asawasi, killing 7 Zongo youths. The youths, they are already agitated. They are already angry. And then now comes Kaka. And now when, with all this, it tells us that, look, the security services need to sit up. Their protection or their welfare is very, very, very important. Without them, actually, we can't even move around. Okay. Because everyone will go about abusing any other person that he sees on the street. Once you are more stronger than the other, you just abuse a person. You just steal from the person or do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But it's because of the police that we are able to move around. But in carrying out their duty in situations like this, they need to be more professional. They really need to. And I feel, you know what, as I said, now it looks like almost every time we have to bring in the military. Almost every time.
Hold your thought, I'll be coming back to you. If you are just joining us, this is Development Corner on Bina TV, and I'm here with Yakub Alpha and then Alhaji Irbad Ibrahim. We are discussing the whole chaos surrounding the Ijra issues and then our security services and what the seeming brutalities that's meted to civilians. Kindly like our pages and then share, comment, and then let me get back to my guest and come back again. Alhaji Irbad, there's this seeming... I don't know, people are, Yanzumutari believe that the reason why the military are going around doing what they are doing is because they are bloodthirsty. They've been trained to kill, or they've been trained to go into dangerous situations, or certain situations like war, the Sauron Suhaka. There's no war, but further than that, they are not military case. As of now, they are coming out with that thirst, and then they are whoever is in their line, they are going to deal with the person accordingly. Do you think it's true?
Ajia, isang mejego ta boga ta doki anunta ta boga dienta. Do people care to understand the raison d'être, the reason to be? Maten da ita ta doki jego ciki 9 months ba wanda ya fi son diyanta ya kai ta. Amma kina ki ga wani yaro toddler ne ko yana shan mama while she's breastfeeding, a lactating mother, she ta spankin shi. Would you just run to Dofsu and say it's domestic abuse? Shi ki tambaya me jaririn nan yayi man nan ta yi wannan. Because at that age, our formative years, the kids get really violent. Sometimes when I wrote the karaka, she say marika. Manambata son ya girma with that attitude na. Ya kamata tayi wani abu ya san kaman yayi kuskure. Ko mutum ne da matan shi Alpha Yakub. Kaga mace kun yi batun I love you ta fahimci, ta agree. Babanta na gida, manta na gida, shi ta gaya musu kama, Yakubu na samu, na son su fito gaisuwa. An fito gaisuwa, aka zo aka yi buki, an ba an sai laifi, an yi walima, kun aifu ma. She one day aje wai ka buga matan kana. Will people go to town and say, kama, Irbad ko Alpha is a wife beater or is abusive without asking me matan nan tai? You see, this society has become prejudgmental, and we are treading on very dangerous grounds. Na build make a background. Domi yo, Inde mutum kai kana bugun mata ne. Right from the get-go da zaka takaita papaya, KFC, Golden Tulip, ka so ma dukan ta. Amma wani abu aka yi before wani abu ya happen. Kin gani? So sometimes na muna window dressing. Me aka yi, this is egregious. This is so bad. Why would you do that? But when they can play victim, me she.
But then, Kashan Kama, you know, they say your rights ends at another person's nose, just colloquial, you know. No matter akoi instances in the mutunde offending ka, even in ka retaliate, the retaliation should stop somewhere.
So that is the law of proportionality.
You know, yeah.
So
you don't say because Meshia offending, I'm taking your life.
Sanun kuda aiki.
No, you see.
But the point, you know, the Quran has something to say. When we lost the Battle of Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ unsmashed for the rock. He was bleeding. Yeah, lose my tooth and shit as a result of the attacks. She had to recede onto the mountain of Uhud. Kama sauko, Musulmai su sauko. Of course, an kashe Musulmai, kama Rafani and Nabi Hamza, Musab bin Umair, mutane da suka yi Madina, first ambassador in Islam was Musab bin Umair. You know what the Kuffar did? They mutilated their corpses. Hamza, we saw in the videos, kama ambara shi da. So she da Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam sauko, she ran shi bata. She ce inde mun ci next yakin na, mu kuma mun yi me, mun musu aka. Wurin no batun proportionality da yan wana Yakub ke fadi. Then immediately Allah ya sauko da malaika Jibril, ya sauko da aya. Wa in aqabtum fa'aqibu bimithli ma uqibtum bih wa la in sabartum lahu khairun lis-sabirin. In kun yi ramuwa, ku yi shi daidai da kan da aka muku, amma in kun yi hakuri shine mafi alkhairi ga masu hakuri. But the case in the examples in the aka gaggayen ga duka. Caleb is one of our, I don't say, one of our promising journalists from Radio Universe. All of us did Radio Universe during a short stay in Legon. Then campus exclusive Suki, the Sauranso. And before he started commercial radio, of course, almost he had potential. But nowhere in journalism school, Zagwada Makamankana the right, Kaje National Security Installation. Pull camera can I record? It's wrong. The way he was handled, media house, maybe someone would say, come on, the reaction was disproportionate. But as you condemn the reaction, I'm not justifying anything. As you condemn the reaction, know that it is action that begets reaction.
Of course.
So, kaya condemn reaction. Ama wanda ye leafin. Wani, if you have no clearance, you see, sometimes when the muki accuse and put ourselves in their shoes, come on, can I gidanka? When you're doing a record gidanka to make you look bad in the eye of the public, yeah, my daddy.
No, but you see, this is, I understand points, but the point is this: these are civilians, untrained civilians, against trained service personnel. There's no proportionate distribution of power here.
Civilian has to be reasonable.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, you have the civilians. We have to be reasonable.
It's understandable that they have to be reasonable.
It isn't within our rights to engage in spontaneous protest. In the first place, we were breaking the rule of law.
That is the reason why we spend money to train these people.
Exactly. No, training doesn't mean you should act unreasonably.
No, we are not saying the civilian activities are unjustified.
Sometimes the civilian will act unreasonable.
Yeah, that is why you have training.
How do you react to it? So that is what we are talking about, because you are a professional, you are a trained. As a journalist, assuming maybe I go take information from someone, just like, and then I'm being forced to give my source. I know ethically it's not right for me to do that. So no matter how I'm being forced or how I'm being abused, I need to stick to my ethics. I hope you can, that is off the record. The person says, look, I'm giving you this information as a journalist. Don't put my name there. I need to make sure I live up to the ethics.
Yeah.
So
It's part of the work. That is why you are being paid. So that's why you are trained.
Are we saying
easy.
Are we saying any time the civilian misbehave, the service
Party,
personnel is justified in doing whatever he wants to do with them?
Let me make this point. That's why I said that. Did they use the processes involved to be able to control the crowd? No, they've not. If they've used it and it was the last point, that one, I would even support them because they also need to protect themselves. But they didn't go through all those processes. Just, I don't know if there was even negotiation. Just you started shooting. And you know, when the journalist was giving account at the Kumsin inquiry, he mentioned that it was just few gunshots in the air. And the next 4 military men started shooting into the crowd. And 3 added up to them. And they shot straight into the crowd, injuring people and killing 2.
Yeah.
So that is what we are saying.
One thing about the camera. We may end up having a discussion for about half an hour or 45 minutes. But you may decide which portion to show. The camera works in such a way, Mbaka put things into that's why some investigative journalists later and realize, no, Kajeka edit footage, pass commentary. It's not fair. That's why some people are falling flat on their faces. I worked, for one of the victims of such secret recordings. No, but everybody knows that I got involved with somebody who was recorded and I did a little PR for him. Kaga, maybe on tape, where the person wanted the world to know, Yakub, there's an impression that you are greedy. But may it happen before when non-footage? Ajay, let one of us be in the shoes of these victims. That's
what I wanted to ask.
I understand the sentiment around this table. We are all youth. We are sad that some of our, colleagues have been injured and all that. But please, abu the deba. Koya one day react na ya react disproportionately. Kai kaja one day abu be number one. Even though mama father, amara you aba aka akiba. Domi in yao. Mutani 50 sun charge at the police, all in the name of let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Suka. And mind you, crime, to be emboldened to carry out crime is incremental. Padingama ngonga dukana soron shi da na ma mare shi bai komi ba. Next time wani ba mare ba ya zamna kan shi. And there should be deterrence. Kinga problem mu duka cikin zongo yanzu ba kobo, ba deterrence. Then yaro ye lefi kaman community child ne ba mom ba pop what ya discipline nka mpop yezo kuma ma shedo ki wani abu ma yaje ai Yakubu ya misbehave kai kokari nagode amma yonna ngan taba diyan wani yazo no yana zuwa yi fada ne akwai yanzu su buga teacher ma wai don teacher ya buga diyan su and what has been the outcome? Delinquent children, they have no respect, there is no discipline. Ajiya an duba nan ganna sha kuma duba nan ga kada ka kin gane nufina so shi ni dai na agree da ki da Yakubu kama maybe kanda ake responding na yayi like striking a fly with a sledgehammer but when they live yanzu haka Yakubu is a fine journalist, one of our budding journalists. He knows the standards of journalism. I don't think he will go into a national security installation to pull a camera. Because he didn't do that, Yakubu has never been manhandled. Those you said tried to hack into national security systems, you have not done that. You are doing clean, open source journalism. They've not come into your office. We are at Bayena. Bayena has never been marauded or, invaded by the national security. No, Yakamata, because Yakubu talked about ethics. It's unethical to go anywhere to secretly record.
It's not ethical.
It's not ethical. Footage in the Kaganin. POV nkake now, point of view nkake. I live in the Iowa West Wagon constituency. When the day by election, na Lydia, when they were winning, I was in my neighborhood. There was absolute calm. Only for us to realize, then later we heard from La Bauleshe, Amari MP. Gio, video na munga kama ana marry MP. This is bad enough. Ama the one they marry na yezo commission of inquiry me yace padin nan ya gaya mai wani wedding da bai mai dadi.
Esa ya warrant to marry.
No, I know wedding nan kuma even though marry nan was bad.
So
wedding the
that is what we are fighting against.
No, mba mu kuma ce ma mutane abinda kai ga shi zai kawo ma wanga ba. Always we just
come in.
Wani magana like na so establish one fact come understanding come ba. Yanda muke as mutane. Mun san abinda ya kamata, mun san abinda bai kamata.
Yeah.
We know right from wrong.
Yes.
Amma me yasa aka yi laws
to protect and still
laws na is there to make sure yes ka san wanga haka ne wanga haka ne.
But we still follow it.
Kai haka ga you be
There's
punished for it.
yeah.
Kowane mutum ne yake cikakken lafiyar shi kuma da yake cikakken hankali shi yasa abin ga nayi amma as nature as I mean at least nature of human beings muna go out later ma muke realize kuma abin nan ma muka yi ga machale ba daidai bane yo yasa sometimes na ake magana kaman wai wanne yayi laifin na sometimes ba duban shi kin na aka yi ma laifin na yadda kan react ake duba shi yasa aka je rules and regulations wai in kai sata aka kama ka kada yi mi
kada buga ka
a kawo ka police station a establish ka ban gaskiya kai sata bayan wannan laws na nan wai wannan ya sata ku ne 4 months ya da prison ko biya shi a saka so the laws are there so the reaction now even though wannan aka sata nan aka je da ya kama ka ko wannan aka sata wai ka ku taba shi cause law nan kenan ku kawo shi a cikin magana cewa gaskiya da yayi sata because there are instances ma when aka ce yayi sata maybe ma shi yayi sata ba shi aja kashe innocent person shi sa rules nan shi sa as a nature of human beings mun san ya mun sa bane kamar mun sa bane bai kamata ba amma yana we are all vulnerable we are not perfect muna yi abin da bai kamata ba so why don't we approach it with a proportionate response
Irbad.
Can understand that? Yes. As much I agree. Mu mutane kuma mu civilians ya kamata mu duba yanda muke react. Ni ban je yi wannan abu amma brother Irbad kare baka mamaki kaman ni Yakubu na ji na yi wannan.
Kuma kan je kai bai ce a kashe ka ba.
Exactly bai kamata a kashe ni ba bai kamata.
Amma an barka san kaman kai mistakes. Kan da next time ba ka.
The law is there.
Okay.
Once you establish kaman gaskiya na mistake, the law takes its course. Ya be mistake, I find it, I sentence it to 2 years, 1 year, 3 months, 6 months, whatever the law says. I mean it.
Al-Qur'an na wani magana.
Amma muka ce kaman true fushi baby, true your baby yana kan react. Don't have wani magana. So I just need to act anyhow.
Then there will be chaos.
Yes, we won't be able to control our society.
There is a word in criminology, it's called recidivism. Yes. It's the propensity to repeat an offense. Inna nafsala amaratun bisu illa ma rahima rabbi. Lalle mutum rai yana karkata zuwa ga laifi face wanda Allah ya samu rahma a kansa. Ko baka gane ba ko baki gane ba mutum inda kai laifi in gangan jiki bai ji kaman nayi laifi ba jikin nan ya barka koma kai barin baki example look at the moral decadence and debauchery we are all living as youth in our communities yau mata na kwana da maza na kwana da mata ba mu yi aure ba. Look at the prescription of Ubangiji. Ubangiji ya ce azaniyatu wazani fajlidu kulla wahidin minhuma mi'ata jalda wala ta'khuzkum bihima ra'fatun fi dinillahi in kuntum amantum billahi wal yawmil akhir wa liyashhad 'adhabahuma ta'ifatun minal mu'minin. Wai because yayi batun law and order. Ina so in situate shi within a context. Kamar mutum iya laifi in bai ji jikin nan wai in gangan in kunni ya ji gangan jiki ya sira domin kunnin ka bai ji ba kai abin da kake so body nan shi dai sofa wai in na mace da namiji mace mai zina namiji mai zina wai ku musu kwagiri bulala 100 in kuna musu 100 nan kuma kar ku ji tausansu kaya an kai 60 mai shi na wayo Allah ya ce wai ku continue bayan kun continue nan kuma ku yi wannan azaban na in the presence of the community da min yau ina yi amin aka Yakubu ya shiga sukunin shi yanzu ba mu bi wannan doka ba yanzu ana yi ma har yanzu incest ma muke yi ya zo ya kai to an extent an ba da liberties da yawa wani wai shi da namiji da su ta kwana kuma he is proud that to come and out shi ma yana da right society da ba kwabo bari society da ba deterrence inda za ku kan nan kun ku kai a point of no return you cross the Rubicon so shi mutum dukan yayi laifi da yin ke mana dukan nan sun fi so mu da kowa da shi ciki muka kimsu yanna kai ka ce oh yaro duka mu boys ga muna zuwa gida da mu sata nama ka wani bigadi wani doki nama ka sa baki amma da an bar ka bar jikinka ya feel it was wrong but yau office ta sata so she yes the reaction could be disproportionate and all bayan mun ce hey this was bad don't do this don't treat civilians this way shi mu komo gefe mu ce ma civilians na ka protest you need clearance you don't have to check of chase on tank water tank of the footage that came out of Ejura akwai wani ana korin water tank
no I saw it
yana gudu
I saw
so
it.
you can imagine that and get close like a deflate tire you can imagine pull guy out of the vehicle what would have happened
exactly
so I agree with Kida Yakubu Doka Kaman. Yes, the reactions have been disproportionate in some cases, but young in the Kwame she by the din number. Shaga make a
don't miss out. Why is it that any time when the Akoi such issues of violence, Kowani Abu Efaruhaka, Zongonemu Ake, like that is the first place you find the victims or maybe perpetrators. And Kaduba killings in Gande so on. The names that are coming up, we may not know if they are Muslims or not, but their names are Muslim names. They carry Muslim names. It is a Muslim community or a Zongo community.
Wanda aka kashe Musulmi.
Wanda ma aka mutanen da aka kama ma the two who have been arrested bear Muslim names.
Yes,
you know.
Sometimes
yeah, Mesa Kulu, it comes back to us.
Come nuna anyan gidan mu da ya kamata wani maganar nan shi ne gobe ajiye shi inda yake where actors involved profess a certain faith chances are the victim and the criminal are both adherents of that faith boy kaman ana yin selectivity
but then if you look at it Techiman ma issues in the Techiman
na da yawa
Techiman
it's indicative of our population. So she sends us to go muka ce ku fito. Sends us muna da yawa. Muna da yawa ba shi ke gona muka wai da criminal.
Exactly.
Oh, of course,
I agree with her brother. We ko ya gidan ke di.
Yeah. But then ba mu duba mun kyara kuma ba. It keeps repeating.
No, Hajiya
mun gyara ababi ba kamar da ke fadin na. Abin gaskiya it keeps repeating. Don in kika duba bayan this whole chaos that being here for then when I think there was a press conference. I think it was the IGP. When it comes, that was after the Billion Van attack. There was a press conference. The IGP came out to speak to the press, and the names of the robbers that Aka mentioned in that about almost 80 to 90%. Sunaki Muzalani, Kingani Minai. So when she yana nuna cewa mu cikin zangonin kuma friends man keruwa Muslim community should be the most sanitized community da ba mu yamu rigewa muna gwada ne kamar ne efadim na that moral decadence like mun lose it kamar yanda before na yi wani ke kama ni yamin bulala aka so na ji ma kime bulala to Allah ya saka Allah ga halai yau ma da nake zama na sai miki wanga that's communal sense was there. Yasa kowane yaro ya san in yayi abin da bai dace ba ba gidan mashi ma yazo he's been disciplined. Yasa in ya tashi da wannan bai zuwa ma yayi abin da yayi. And that thing starts right from our homes to the community to our institutions. It starts right from our homes. In ake rone yaron nan gida. In ya fito cikin unguwa wurin kuma nana in ya ta school or in ya je irin organizations wani clubs in them go in basis what is happening there kingdom is a chain of responsibility. It's like immediately everybody sees okay responsibility wangani that is when we get the breakages That is where we are not able to connect to make sure Zangonemu are able to project that image in Muslimchi. Yanda Muslimchi yake kan fandi Muslimchi cause gaskiya inda mu yan zango za mu zama yanda Muslimchi ce a zama wallahi da san ko move 10% ne in su da neman wani advice on how to run this country so zo wurin mu ko mu just 10 in number cause yanda Muslimchi a ce komi na bi aka mu ya so shi mu samu. But the other side I also have come to realize is that kingan soron Allah even though muna wasu ababe na bai dace ba amma soron Allah mu kuma na to one level. So dewa what I've observed is that in the unguwa annan wani iri abu aka yi fara wallahi they make sure they get to the bottom of it.
Yes, that don't be Alhaji. Mostly, very deflect question. Very deflect question. Alhaji. Yeah, mostly I can go issues say happen. I chief imam is about issue press releases. Ajab gansu abasu kudi aya do abar mahalla. Ya carry it keeps I can go. No, do you think that issue nga I'm finalizing she justice itself?
I think I agree with Yakub Alpha. Security is a shared responsibility. Civilians are in one silo, and then the security personnel are also in another silo. Mudokanemana work hand in hand. And Nima Police Division is one of the most prominent in the country. And normally, Kankazama IGP, some way, somehow, has more command than Nima. Okay. There's an interface. Can understand the Muslim community. Of course, asylum down. The division and also asylum da Iba Muslim. Even Konka from Roga, Kanda Estate, and Iba Muslim make the Yawa Urumba. So the Kasum for along the ring road. Kokomileblanga Dokasuna I should go watch King Avenga command and the Sauron. So even though most of the cases in a lot of money. Kinga Mana da wani culture ban girma. Akwai lamarin kaddara, and kaddar is one of the 6 articles of faith. Kaman zaman mungayonga, if Allah didn't will it, it wouldn't have happened. Yes. Baya kamata mu kuma sani kaman akwai kaddara at the subset level, then akwai universal kaddara. Ruwan ga kin ajiyo, ina so na sha, ina so ban sha. Na sha ruwan ga yanzu ganna so na ne ni na so na sha in ka je ka hada wani wuri kai mistake aka ma duka kai ka so ba Allah ya pushin ka je kai wannan abin nan ba ko baki gane ba yau in dai yaro ko 2 weeks ago wai cikin gwannin mu wani ne da kalan shi ke da yake buga kalan shi wani yazo dai intervene wai shi soke shi ya kashe shi kin ga da bi da hukuncin musulunci ne wanga ba ma zama because there is overwhelming evidence kaman kai ka kashe shi inda kai kana da human right ka je a dibiya ka on death row ba kashin ka kana condemn sai ana kuma dokan taxpayers money ana baka abincin wanda ka kashe shi bai da human rights kan ne ko you don't deserve to live so shi malamin da zai sa rawani sarkin da zai sa agwada ya je a intervene kan wanga issue na shi dai da aje lamarin diya shine family da ku aka kashe wani kunna you can negotiate a settlement lokacin annabi diya kin san nawa ne 100 camels those times one camel kaman lori in kana da lori kana da kudi kake da camel amma yau ga zongo 7 nawa ka bayi 250,000 a piece wanda aka kashe ga 20k wanda ke hospital 10k
Gama amputi ma cikin su yaro kan 16 years. Okay.
So yanzu haka where I agree with you ne ba wanda suka shoot unlawfully da hukuncin ubangiji ake yi. Da kai ma anka yau kana wani na yi hit and run yana buge ka da lore ma ka mutu ya wuce. Kuma an kama shi nothing will happen da ta go kam. An kashe sitting MPs garinga. Nothing has happened. Ya zama abin wasa ma wake suspect sun shi sexy don. Ana wasa da lamarin ko baka gane baki kan so shi ya kamata mu koma mu duba criminal justice system mun inde an eye for an eye a tooth for a tooth ka'idan da ubangiji ya je tun lokacin annabi Musa kenan
wannan ce kana practice sharia law kenan muna cikin democracy
baba democracy ana tucan juna ga ya mini one case wanda aka kashe ga duka ai magana kwana biyu shikenan muna garin ga a very prominent person kalamu A scholar. Where and shoot. Yanzun Katambe when how far with the investigation? Sure. Domin other people have committed murder and gone away scot-free.
So, you see that
in 1 minute, let's wrap up our time.
So she make you go that one, Hajia. Mutu nye life. Everybody na ye feel. Everybody na ye feel it na. Uzu chenka na karkata zo awre na body nya che bosu. Ndaga je zo anga ni ndan digiti yo. So say Yakub. I'm human rights na ye wana. Crime will always increase in this society.
Prominent in some of these issues. Kuma yana ake hanta gaskiya kamar yadda fadin now youth ya kamata mu gyara su. Kana da kin gane ya kamata mu gyara from gidajen mu to institutions to wannan mu to sarakai mu in kina follow na kan Facebook always I feel kama look sarakai mu ya kai ba sha'anin na da sarauta sha'anin aure suna kawai da addu'a kawai bane. Sarakai mu kun ya ku zama ku come out with policies with programs da za ku ya ku impact development cikin communities mu. Saraka muna da shiga o ina so is in wannan influence so samu support na ya kamata cikin saraka mu kowanne ya ce sarki Sisala sarki Musa sarki Gombawa shi community shi kada mutane shi kada na zai musu developmental programs and they impact on their lives. If this the association muna da irin wanga programs continuously, trust me, ya change lives in you to mudewa.
Irbad.
Amma saraka mu na Basu, let me just Basu wanda. So from that no kuma ina mi kamar yanda kuma muke ce a bari ma Allah nan gaskiya ina affect issues they were kamar yake magana recently even Ungwana that was somewhere last year or last 2 years wani ya use ada ya sara wani me shi ya mutu me shi ya wuce da few months after ya kuma yanzu mu da shi ne unguwa me ya kai mewo a bari ma Allah wallahi kaddara ni family ku yi hankuri kuma in wannan na ina continue yana happen dan gobe ai ko ni na yi na kudu family sun je su bada hankuri te ko ba su yara 1 month 3 months an kama malamai sai a zo a yi magana ce to bude ku bari mu bari ma Allah ya tun habi bai kun mu kuma yasa wannan kuma yana cikin kin yanka irin wadanga ababen ga yana habi cikin zongonem almuna kai shi waje kuma kin yanka muna ya ka ce muna mu zo mu yi ababen ga ma on the interest of one politician ko one political party shi zama na easy muna haka mawacalin bari mu je mu yi a daidai nan ma abin da muka saba yi ne shi sa ya kamata mu duba wannan manyan musarakai mu leaders musulmai zangonnin mu don Allah ya kamata su tashi saya in wani yayi wani and make sure kamar the law takes its course so that it serves as a deterrent to the other person amma muna share magana Allah ya ce wallahi gaskiya zangon mu to Allah ya kiyaye
Alhaji karshen fira karshen
magana na karshe security personnel we are not mad people who are trigger happy maybe on our way home from here can meet police say they won't shoot you but kai have been shoot ba in kai have been shoot za shoot ka ko an zo da dare da ka wuce da lorry ana ta stop an shoot ka kai ka so if you conduct yourself well you have no issues with the security personnel na kuma roki anya waye mu ba ko chobo ka ji kai ma za ka fita ba an kashe ka bar manka da kuka an wanda aka gashin gado ka ga mini an kwaro da ya fa mu ba ta rufe duniya wanda aka yanka kafan shi zama an fucin ga Allah na tuba me da ma justice and save iya ko mu baya so shi kai mu diyoyin masu makera diyoyin mai sai da koko diyoyin mai sai da wake diyoyin mai sai da kulkuli diyoyin baba mai aikin farauta an haife mu cikin talauci da jarabta what shows kaman kana da akukudro ko kina da akukudro is taking your family out of poverty that should be your focus ka san ubangijinka ka find ways of taking yourself and your family out of poverty wannan ne ya kamata mu sa gaba amma kai nan ga kaza nan ga and then mind you demonstrations are good. They are an element of our democracy. But after demonstrations, tell me, is a single job provided for any unemployed youth the following day?
That's if you're going to if you're going to talk about it, no, you see, demonstrations have been
they don't create a single job.
It's about Occupy Flagstaff House. Where are the conveners?
Where are they? They did it because they had an interest.
So where are they?
How many of them got jobs? How many of them? Young children, I was a white giver. Don't demonstrate.
This is where we end the show. Do join us every Thursday on our Facebook page on Bina TV. I've been your host, Fatimatu Ahmed. Kudos to my entire production team, Ahmed, Zulaiha, and then my guest, my wonderful guest, Yakub Alpha Suleiman, and then Alhaji Irbad Ibrahim. Bye-bye.
Bye.